From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Birthday Cake Bevan.
Birthday cake.
Everybody gets a piece.
Yes. You ain't lying.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. So it will be a few weeks before, because we're a little bit ahead, but apparently Foreskin just knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
I had
nice.
people messaging me saying I am screaming laughing. So yeah, so you're my little birthday cake.
Okay.
Everybody gets a piece. Everybody in the office gets a little piece of Joshua.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tipster Stephanie said nothing sexier than your Viking beard.
Oh,
I sent her
thank
pictures. Yeah. Don't be flirting. Don't be
No.
flirting on the air. No, stop
okay,
right
no.
now. Nope, none of that.
Call me.
Yeah, stop it. Don't call him. Do not call him. If you message him via me, I will fucking block you, Stephanie. If you send me pictures of your butt or something, it's not, just don't do it. Do not do it. So in a few weeks, it'll probably be airing by the time that we do it. We're going to be going on our beloved Graveline tour.
Sweet.
Very excited about the Black Dahlia tour. And
Yeah.
that is in the middle of August, I guess. And can't believe July's almost over. And if you are in the Southern California area and you would like to do an extremely interesting experience, any of the Graveline tours we can recommend. Amazing packages, amazing different tours. I wish you could take all day and just do a couple of them because you would just get so much out of it. But if you go to graveline.rip and put in the promo code area Tipster40, you get a healthy 40% off. And apparently someone messaged me and said it wasn't working. And I kicked Adam in the nuts and he goes, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. I fixed it." So Adam's the owner. Yeah. So everything's fine now. Tipster40. And speaking of that, I'm going to like rave a little bit about my magic mind.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened is that I, went out of town for a couple of days and 3 days and I didn't have my magic mind. And when I got back and I started taking it again, I noticed a huge difference. And then they now have Magic Mind Sleep Elixir.
Oh.
And if you have listened to this podcast any more than once or twice, you probably heard me bitch about insomnia. So I took it. I will just tell you, I like the flavor of Magic Mind, the regular elixir that is helpful for, keeping, you balanced and even. And I mean, it's such a great product. I can't say enough good things about it. I'm not a fan of the Sleep Elixir flavor, but it's purple. So it's almost kind of spicy. I can't tell what's in it, like maybe clove or cinnamon or something.
Okay.
And I drank one little 2-ounce elixir and then was going to sit up and watch an episode of Evil. And I had to fight to stay awake.
Oh.
And finally I was like, "Why are you fighting? Go upstairs and go to bed."
Wow.
It's really spectacular.
Huh. Okay.
So if you feel like you don't need Magic Mind, you're wrong. You do.
Sure.
But, just in case, if there's another product you want to try, I hope that you will try the Magic Mind Sleep Elixir because I have my Magic Mind in the morning and my Magic Mind Sleep Elixir at night now.
Yeah. Wow.
I know.
Okay. So just the first go.
Yep.
Right off the bat.
Yep.
Wow.
And I gave one to a friend and he said the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah. We compared notes the next day and I'm like, I was a zombie. He's like, "Me too."
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, all righty. I mean, I really love my Magic Mind and it just feels so good to do something good for yourself. It has, cordyceps mushrooms and adaptogens and it's just so good for your body. You get so many vitamins all in one little elixir. You don't have to try and swallow a bunch of capsules or pills. It's an amazing drink. And then knowing that they now have the sleep elixir they're even more magical to me.
Cool.
So I hope that you will try one or even both and give it a little bit of time. But with the sleep elixir, I didn't have to give it time.
Wow.
I was like, what am I on? It was like I'd roofied myself.
Cool.
Yeah. It was really, really awesome. So go to magicmind.com and in the promo code area, put Tipsters20. You get 20% off and I believe free shipping. And I can't say enough about this product. It's, I don't want to sound like overly dramatic, but it has really changed my life. I've been so tired and, crabby and distracted lately, which Joshua can, attest to, but I'm so
Not
much
saying
better.
anything.
Yeah, you should probably keep your fucking mouth shut. If you want to keep your job, buddy. You'll say it to me off the air. You're like,
Yes.
you've been so distracted and bitchy. But the Magic Mind, I think, has saved
so
me.
cool.
Again, I'm not trying to be dramatic. It has saved me. So I'm really grateful. And I hope that you'll, consider at least trying it. If you don't fall in love with it like I do, I will be shocked and saddened, but just try it. Do something good for yourself. Do something good for yourself because it feels like complete, self-care.
Cool.
When I drink one in the morning and I drink one at night, it just feels like bookends.
Nice.
Like I've just done something really good for myself the entire day.
Cool.
Yeah, I am a lover of it, faux show. So part of the reason I was crabby is I was finishing up financial crimes class, the 6th module of my crime analysis class, which is 10 modules, and I got a 19 out of 20 on my final exam.
Nice.
So I
Good
told
work.
Joshua, yes, I'm going to take a little pat on the back. But financial crimes was just so much easier than statistics, which almost killed me. So I really enjoyed financial crimes. I learned a lot. I think I retained it. And it is interesting. It's not something I want to do like the rest of my life or anything, but I was fascinated by what I learned.
Yeah, a few weeks is enough for you.
Yeah, a month.
Yeah.
A month of, like 7 hours a week or something. Yeah, it was enough.
Okay.
But I couldn't believe, I did pretty good on the final. And the one I missed, and I knew I missed it, was about cryptocurrency and about Bitcoin. And I couldn't find the specific hash that the professor wanted us to find to save my soul. So I handed it in and I wrote, you download the test and then you just can type your answers in.
Okay.
And then send it. And I typed in, I know this is not the right answer, but I can't find the one you're talking about to save my life. So here is what is my best guess.
Sure.
So I think that's the one I missed.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but it just was such a great feeling to know that, and it doesn't matter. It's not like A, B, C, D, it's pass, fail.
Right.
But I passed, in a much better place than I did statistics.
So good.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah. And I wanted to say thank you to Tipster Jerry, who sent me his copy of I Hear You Paint Houses, the autobiography of Frank Sheeran, which was the source material for The Irishman. And, it's like solving Jimmy Hoffa's murder is basically the, second part of the title. So if you have a chance to get that and read it, you should do so. Joshua and I are going to read it.
Yeah.
I told him I have to read it first. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
I can wait. I'm patient.
You are. And you're also a fast reader. So you'll read faster than me, but I'm really looking forward to reading it because of Jerry's review. He said it's so much more interesting and entertaining and lively than the movie could make it be, So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's nothing like somebody who's either a great writer or has a great ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So this case is from my beloved Ohio, and it's a weird one. I'm going to tell you that when I say everyone needs an advocate, I mean that. And this woman's advocate is her daughter, and she is quite remarkable. Her name is Lori Lynn. Her name was Lorraine, but she went by Lori, Lorillynn. And that was her actual last name, her married last name. And she had, I think, 3 kids with her husband, 2 daughters and a son. And her one daughter is a force of nature, and she has spearheaded the investigation because I'll be honest, there may not have been one if it was left up to the original first responders.
Oh, okay.
So Lori was 60 years old, and she had been retired 1 year. And she is from a particularly close family. And her mother and father had a bunch of property in the middle of Ohio.
Okay.
Um, you know, hour and a half to Pittsburgh, hour and a half, 2 hours to Cincinnati, kind of in the
So the
middle.
middle of
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
A lot of farmland, but it was really beautiful.
Sure.
Ponds and a big piece of real estate.
Okay.
So big that several family members lived on the property.
Cool.
So Lori and her first husband were married like 28 years. And they had the 3 kids, and they had a house on her parents' property.
Cool.
Now, when they got divorced, apparently it was very amicable. Her husband lives in the house where the kids grew up.
No.
And she got another
She
place.
moved.
Yeah, off the property.
Okay.
So he lives on the property where his in-laws are.
Huh. All right.
Another person who lives on the property is Lori's brother. There's only one boy and like 4 girls.
Okay.
And I guess his nickname is Chip. And I guess he was like Howard the Third. Their last name was Pullen, Pullin, Howard
Okay.
Pullen the Third. So Howard and his wife had amassed a lot of real estate. They had found some rental properties, and they had let their son manage the properties.
Okay.
He would be responsible for collecting rents and fixing things. Apparently, he was pretty good at fixing things, so they let him be like the handyman, property manager. Yeah.
Got it.
Lori, after Howard Jr., I guess, passed away, felt there were some discrepancies in the bookkeeping. She was trying to take care of things for her mom, who's elderly and on her own as a widow, and didn't like what she saw and didn't like the numbers, and had a frank talk with her brother and said there's some stuff going on. She had convinced her mom to not let him be the property manager anymore, to hire a property management company to collect the rents. Chip got very upset. This would have been maybe March or April of 2017. Chip got very, very upset and demanded the property management company to, let go of everything, and that he was the person in charge. And his mom convinced him, look, you can still be, the handyman, but this property management company is going to, take care of the other stuff.
Okay.
That apparently didn't go well. And August 1st of 2017, Lori, who I said had been retired 1 year, was engaged to a man that she loved very much, and they were very happy. I have to say, for 60, Lori was quite beautiful.
Nice.
Really a beautiful woman. And her daughter, Samantha, is stellar too. I don't know the other daughter or the son, but I bet they're just as beautiful. Samantha is a beautiful girl, and she just wants justice for her mother. She is a mother herself and lives in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania somewhere. I think it's Pittsburgh. Hour and a half away from Youngstown. It's kind of a suburb of Youngstown, Ohio. And August 1st, Lori went to her mother's large piece of property to pick her mom up and take her to the courthouse to change some property documents after her father died to like have it in her mother's name.
Okay.
Like take it out of the father and the mother, I guess. And,
just standard paperwork.
Yes.
Regular things. Okay.
Yes. What most people don't know about this property is that it's got security cameras.
Okay.
They're not tremendous, and there's not a bunch of them, but there's enough to show some very suspicious behavior. Lori is seen pulling in her brand new, beautiful SUV. She bought, she was so proud of her new SUV. She retires, she buys a new car. She's, and I'm just going to say, Lori, when you hear what she did, her life, you're going to think, well, this is a pretty phenomenal woman. This is a pretty neat girl. So she pulls into her mom's driveway. She's seen pulling in. She goes up, knocks on the door a couple times. There's no answer. It's locked. She tries. She called her mother 9 times
Hmm.
and never got a hold of her. Now she is seen walking back to her SUV, getting in the SUV and going down the driveway and turning in a direction that would go to the other property, the other homes on the property.
Okay.
Her ex-husbands and her brothers.
Right.
What Lori didn't know is that her brother and his wife had picked her mom up earlier
Oh.
and taken her to the courthouse.
Okay.
I do not have confirmation about what happened there.
Hmm.
If they did what she wanted to have her mom's name.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Switching the names properly, or
Mm-hmm.
okay. Did they pick her up so they can convince her to do a different thing? Is that the
Right.
kind of
Don't
suspicion?
know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't know. Don't have confirmation. But what I can tell you happens next might make you wonder.
Okay.
About 45 minutes after that. So Lori is seen on the cameras at 12:30. Let's say 1:14, 1:15. Her SUV comes kind of squealing into the driveway. You can't see who's driving it, but someone drives around the back of the barn, avoiding the cameras that
Mm.
a very small number of people know are there.
Huh.
And then she's never heard from again.
Huh. Okay.
So the afternoon goes by and the evening comes, and her fiance comes home from work, and it's like, well, I know she was going to take her mom. She apparently was a lot like me and would leave like very descriptive notes
Sure.
of what she needed to do,
Okay.
and then leave them on the table and forget, like I do.
Right.
I love to make out a grocery list
Yeah.
and then go to Sam's Club and go, God damn it, what did I need?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had, like mom, lunch, bank, she written
Right.
out, what her day was. So he knew, her fiance knew, and he, is calling her. There's no answer. So he calls her family. Hey, have any of you seen Lori? She was supposed to pick up her mom and go to the bank. So who lives on the property? Her ex-husband and her brother.
Okay.
So in the evening, her ex-husband and her brother go looking around for her. They come around the back of the old barn and they see her beautiful new SUV parked up against the barn. Like she wouldn't have parked it there.
Yeah,
Sort of weird. On top of,
Okay.
it's described as being on top of like a burn pile or a pile of junk. It didn't look like that to me, but there are pictures, and I'm going to direct you to a website that is so incredibly well done.
Okay.
When I say an advocate, her family and friends loved this woman so much they have done all of the work.
Cool.
Okay. They look over toward the pond, and there is a tractor with a bush hog implement attached to it, and it is aimed toward the pond, and her ex-husband sees a leg and says, oh my God, it's Lori. And her brother stands there. And according to her ex-husband, he says, get over here. This is your sister.
Right.
She was sitting in the tractor in the seat, face down, slumped over the steering wheel,
okay.
and it was in the pond.
Like that the tractor had
Purposely been driven into the pond.
Into the pond. Okay.
And she is gone.
Okay.
They call the police immediately. It's a small rural town in Ohio. They don't know a lot about crime scenes.
Okay.
Yeah. They say it's just a terrible accident.
Uh-huh. Like just what it looks like on the face.
Yep.
Okay.
That this 60-year-old woman who's going to pick up her mom and take her to the bank parked her car in a weird place, get on the tractor in August in Ohio to clear some brush around the pond and accidentally drove herself into the pond and died. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about Lori.
Mm-hmm.
For 30 years, she was a heavy machinery operator.
Yeah, okay.
She was a member of the local 66, and she, at her memorial, her coworkers, her boss said, this woman worked harder than any man I've ever worked with. She knew more about heavy machinery, how it worked, how to operate it, how to massage it if it was in a bad mood. I mean, she was apparently a pretty expert
Yeah.
Heavy machinery operator. This is a small farm tractor with an attachment, and she just lost control and drove it into a pond. Why would she be clearing property? Like, your mom's not home. You can't find your mom. Where is she? I think I'll just clear off a couple acres and drive it into the pond and die.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So now you're with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even before you say Local 66, I'm picturing all of the girls in rural Ohio are probably way better equipped on farm equipment than, me as a dude
me
from
or
California.
You. Right. Yeah. Right. I think that's a very good assessment.
Yeah.
And especially Lori.
Yeah.
I mean, she was really beautiful. Some people would call her a tomboy, but I don't think she could help it because she was so pretty. She had big, beautiful, fluffy, curly hair, like right around shoulder length, and just a big smile and beautiful teeth. And, maybe she didn't wear a shit fuck ton of makeup, but she was beautiful. Yeah. I wouldn't really call her a tomboy, but if you saw her at work, you probably would be like, look at that girl go. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the police say tragic accident. The family says, would you please look at this video footage? Yeah. None of this is able to be explained. Yeah. She, and I will tell you, there is an amazing, her family and friends have put up an amazing website. It's whokilledlorilynn.com. WHOKILLEDLORILYNN. And it is the best family-run advocates for a case website I have ever seen. They have what they call the evidence locker. They have maps and photos, and they have edited together the security video footage to show you, here's when she drives in normally. Here's when this SUV, you can't see who's driving it, squeals by.
Because it's her. She's really trying to get at those weeds.
Sure. That's it. She was like, I got to clear off my mom's pond area. Right. There's too many cattails.
Right.
Yeah. That was her. So, her daughter from minute one, while the police were there, and she had to drive, 2 hours south when she gets a call, from Pittsburgh to Youngstown and say, what happened? And she knows immediately, as do some of Lori's sisters, this is not a normal thing. This smells. Right. And she accuses her uncle right then and there.
Oh, okay. Straight at the...
She says, you had something to do with this. She doesn't say you killed her. She says, you had something to do with this.
Okay. So that tells me she already... The beef was already brewing, at least.
Yeah. Because of the money.
Yeah.
Because apparently Chip had lived off his parents for quite a while. And I'm not saying he didn't work, because he did, handyman work, but he was skimming, allegedly, from the rents, because the rent money wasn't being deposited into her mother's account. Right. And she was worried about her mother being, taken care of by her father's property.
Right.
That, he passed away and left to secure his wife's future.
Sure.
So, she has a pretty difficult discussion with him earlier in the year, and it did not go well. And what they think happened is the fact that she was going to take their mom to have all the names changed on the bank things. Right. He circumvented her and, took his mom to the bank earlier. And then when she shows up, it was earlier in the morning. She was supposed to pick her mom up at 12:30, and it was like 10 that he took his mom to the bank. Yeah. So they're back home, allegedly. Right. And when she can't find her mom, she goes to her brother's house, probably confronts him, and then she ends up on a tractor face down in a pond. Yeah. Yeah, maybe she needed to clear her mind. And the way she clears her mind after a fight with her brother is to, bush hog some property.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. Or bush hog the center of a pond.
Yeah. She didn't understand how it worked. And she's like, this works in water, right?
No, God.
So the local law enforcement says tragic accident.
Yeah.
It takes about 6 months for the family to get the coroner, who, by the way, had to have been elderly at the time because he died not long after that.
Oh, geez.
To change the manner of death to homicide.
Okay.
The cause of death is violence at the hands of another.
Violence at the hands of another.
Now, there's no specific thing.
Yeah.
What they believe is that she was strangled.
Okay.
The tractor was driven into the pond and she was placed on it.
Okay. But at that point, there's no way to look at the body and say, okay, here's this kind of evidence.
Yes.
Oh.
But at first it was, she hit her head on the cover of the tractor and lost, consciousness and drove into the pond.
Okay. Okay. But still, if you're going to do an autopsy on a body that drowned, the lungs would be full of water, right? Or things like that. I mean, I don't know all the
good point,
all the exact things, but right. if somebody drowned, the lungs would be full of water. If the body were suffocated or strangled and then placed, dumped in a lake, there wouldn't be any water. I mean,
one would think,
right? That would be
right.
You wouldn't breathe if you're not breathing before you got into the lake. You're not sucking water in,
right? So I don't have any of the. I know Samantha, her daughter, said it took many months before that was even released. The police would say it's an open investigation.
Right.
She hired. This is how much this family loves and cares for her. They hired a private investigator who was an ex-FBI agent, and he got a hold of the death certificate.
Okay.
I don't know if they could not release specific details, but what you're saying makes perfect sense.
I mean, things like that. So they really, I'm guessing they didn't do
probably because they wrote it off quickly as an accident,
right?
As a farm accident is what they said. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Okay.
So the men, I please don't think I'm being gender specific, but I'm going to be gender specific. The men are in the life of a woman who ends up murdered are always going to be suspects. So the men in her life are, and the same thing for a man.
Right. No,
it's the closest to you. They start close in, work out.
Yeah.
So her fiance,
right,
her ex-husband, and her brother were all going to take polygraph tests.
Right.
Her fiance and her ex-husband took them and passed.
And her brother?
Scheduled one and then wouldn't show up.
And didn't show up. Okay.
And hired a high-powered attorney from Cleveland and said, I cannot even grieve because of all of these fingers pointing at me.
Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. All right there,
Chipper. He has rescheduled his polygraph several times and has never will not show up. Yeah.
Okay.
What
Super
is
sus there?
A little bit. What is interesting to me is that this group of people that loved Lori will not give up.
That's cool.
They have gathered $20,000 as a reward, and there is a tip line I'm going to give you later. They have this website that's well done, and they, don't name Chip or point to him, but Samantha has gone on interviews and said, I'll tell you, there's just no better advocate for Lori than her daughter. She starts off by saying the cameras were known to maybe 5 people in the family and the guy that put them up and installed them.
Okay.
And, she doesn't just come out and say, and then she does.
Hmm.
But at the beginning, she lets you hear the evidence.
Right.
And let you make up your own mind. And you're like, well, it had to be someone she knew. It wasn't like a stranger wandered onto the property, and
Right.
that would be, too odd. And then they got her SUV and drove it around, and
Yeah.
it's like, yes. So she lets you make up your own mind. And then she later says, the only person I believe could have done this is my Uncle Chip. She also says, and it sounds like he might have some mental health issues.
Okay.
And that's being kind.
Right.
Like maybe a sociopath.
Hmm.
She said she and her other cousins were tortured by him as kids. And she gives an example that he paid 2 little boys to beat up Samantha. Paid 2 little boys to beat her up when she was like 8 or 10. And he said, I was just trying to toughen you up. And he thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's not a prank. I mean,
no, that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's not a normal thing.
As the fun uncle, I definitely prank my niece and nephew.
You're a funkle. You're definitely a funkle. Yeah.
But
have you ever paid people to beat them up?
No,
okay.
No.
All right. That's what I was thinking.
That's not a funny joke.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I think that's real shitty.
Yeah.
Like supremely shitty. I feel like that lends itself to his mindset that he thinks that's funny, or, I'm going to toughen up my niece.
Yeah, no.
No, you're not. Okay. So I am going to read a couple of things, and I'm not trying to tug at your heartstrings, but I'm trying to tug at your heartstrings.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she obviously was she was loved by everyone. There's no one who would want to hurt her except her brother, who was being called on the carpet about embezzling from his parents. Her daughter, Samantha, wrote, I know everybody would say that their loved one is special, and they are. But my mom was a rare breed of woman. When I was growing up, I remember being a latchkey kid surviving off cereal and SpaghettiOs. I had no idea that at that moment, as I would have been heating up my after-school snack, my mom was busting her ass in a local union construction company, surrounded by men in a man's field, getting covered in dirt and blood, trying to make a better life for us. Not only was she working hard all day, she was showing up for me at night. She came to my volleyball games, my softball games, homecomings, proms. I tried to hide my shame when she rushed home from work, dirty, sweaty, and smelling, just to make sure I could have those memories today. It was her character. Even after I had kids of my own, she would travel 2 hours each way to spend a day or two with her grandkids, who called her Nana. Mm-hmm. She did this so I could go to work every single week until the day she was murdered. I was so arrogant to think we had more time together. I never really showed her appreciation for all of the things that she has done for me. My mother was a workhorse, a tough love mom who wanted nothing more than to spend every moment of her retirement with the people she loved. And she only lived 1 year into her retirement. Something to think about, huh? This whole thing has changed me forever, and my heart sinks lowest when I think what her killer took from all of us. God. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she worked for 30 years as a heavy equipment operator for, different construction companies, but one for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she's just... Right.
Yeah.
So there is now, a detective who says, we think that there are witnesses who are just too afraid to come forward. We think there are people who know. I don't know if they mean witnesses who saw someone perhaps driving her SUV, or witnesses who may have heard someone say something like, I killed my sister.
Right. Or even not even that much. Just saying something about something
Mm-hmm.
that could confirm. Yeah.
What I think is interesting is that this is a small rural town. And when you say somebody knows something, you mean it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because while it's a small town and people tend to be private and quiet, they also tend to be a little nosy. And you
Sure.
notice things if someone's pattern is different,
Yeah.
if someone, is behaving different.
Yeah.
Apparently, Chip behaved badly right after she passed away and was only interested in getting all of the family's assets, organized. It was just basically about money for him.
Yeah.
And I think it's always been about money for him. And his parents, worked hard and invested wisely in real estate and left, things for them. And maybe he just couldn't, wait.
Right.
I mean, I was worried about his dad, but apparently he died of a heart attack,
Mm.
quickly. So, I'm hoping that was natural causes.
Right.
But if you're willing to, to allegedly kill
Huh.
one family member, can you allegedly kill two?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I feel, really bad pointing fingers or accusing anyone. And then to hear Chip say, I can't even, grieve correctly because people are pointing fingers at me. It's, difficult to imagine another scenario. And I'm trying something that Detective Coy Cox taught me and tries to teach me over and over again is don't become singularly focused.
Sure.
Keep your mind
Right.
open. And I might need, the occasional tap on the shoulder, like, you know what? Maybe something else could have
Maybe.
happened. But I will just tell you, and I don't think that I am swayed. Maybe I am emotionally, but if you go to whokilledlorylynn.com, I defy you to come up with something else.
Right.
I just,
Yeah.
when you see the video footage, it's so close to being like not pointing a finger, but being the evidence they need to arrest someone, but it's not close enough
Right.
because you can't see who's driving the second time
Right.
the SUV goes in the driveway.
Mm.
And it's not like a driveway like you and me think. It's like a circular gravel, it's a big
Sure.
piece of property.
Right.
I do have to say her mother's, I don't know if it's a front porch or back porch, but it's beautiful.
Mm.
So many gorgeous flowers. And I mean, it's like, it looks like a little garden paradise.
Mm.
And, a beautiful walkway. And, she's going to pick up her mom to try and take care of her mom's assets.
Right.
And she ends up, according to the retired FBI agent who is a private investigator, bludgeoned, strangled, and placed in the pond on the tractor.
Right.
I didn't know the bludgeoned part, but
Mm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, right.
Yeah.
So I feel like I know part of this, story and part of the world. And it's hard to imagine anyone other than someone who knew the ins and outs, who knew Lori,
Right.
who knew the family, who knew how to avoid the cameras,
Yeah.
the way to drive in that it couldn't be seen clearly from, a different vantage point. You also see the SUV. This is the part that just kills me. Before they find it parked behind the barn, you see the SUV going down, not really a road, but a path that's like, kind of driven over, but isn't like a real road. And it's on the side of the house and it's going toward the pond.
Oh, in between.
Yes.
Okay, so you
And then
see
it's
Lori
found,
drive away.
behind the,
Got it.
you see someone come back
Uh-huh.
45 minutes later, avoid cameras, but through the trees, you can
You can
see the
see.
SUV, what looks
Oh,
like her SUV, since there's no other white SUV, driving on a path you would probably drive your tractor on,
sure.
or, your ATV or a motorbike or something. It's not like a real road, but it's a path down to the pond.
Oh,
So I'm not a detective. Looks like,
that's when they brought the body.
mm-hmm,
Then drove back
mm-hmm, put it
so
behind the barn.
so they could
So it's hidden.
stage
Mm-hmm.
the SUV driving over.
That is the perfect word, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who has looked at this case now says this is the most staged crime I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it wasn't figured out earlier, but we can't look back.
Right.
We just have to go forward. So August 1st, which this will come out after that, this will come out the first week in August, but August 1st is the 7-year anniversary
7 years.
of
Wow.
Lori's case not being solved. And I can't stand this. And if it's correct that people in the area or people that are close to the family or known to the family know something, I am going to beg of you, don't even think about a $20,000 reward. Think about Lori's daughters, her son, her grandchildren, all of her fiance, her ex-husband, who she was still apparently very good friends with, her mother. Think of the people that love her, that have banded together to be advocates so that something like this doesn't happen to anyone else's family member. I am begging you to put aside your fear or your ego, whatever is keeping you from telling something you might know that you think is small, but could be huge. I'm going to beg you to call the anonymous tip line at Liberty Police Department at 330-539-9830. That's 330-539-9830. You can also go to whokilledlorilynn.com. The family would take any tips. There is a contact number. There's a tip form you fill out. I'm telling you, me talking about this case gives you some of the idea and the evidence, but I'm not a very visual learner, but let me tell you, I'm just a much more auditory person, but this website, if you look at all of the hard work, the videos, the maps showing the house, the route, where things were found, I think you're going to make come to your own conclusion. And if you think that, someone has been wrongly accused, then say something, do something to make this case a closed case once and for all.
Definitely.
Her family deserves that and more.
Absolutely.
So again, Liberty Township Police Department, 330-539-9830. You can always call us at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media platforms, just the Tipsters Facebook page, JT Tipsters on Instagram, at JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter. And if you're enjoying this content, please consider going to Apple Podcasts and leaving us a rating or a review. We are so grateful to the feedback from our amazing tipsters. We wouldn't be here without all of you. And more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.